Kosovo is holding its first parliamentary poll nearly 3 years after the self-proclaimed state split from Serbia. Alice Hibbert is following the vote in the capital, Pristina.
This region does still remain very deeply divided along ethnic lines, most notably between the majority Albanian community here that makes up some 90% of the population and the much smaller minority Serbian community here. It is expected that some 50% of the electorate will turn out to vote today, but the vast majority of them will be Albanians. Serbians here feel divided. They do want to vote to make a change. They say they suffer daily discrimination, high unemployment, they're denied freedom of movement, and they suffer very low living conditions, but they don't necessarily want to engage in the Kosovan electoral system here. But they do want to make a real change here. So what we expect is that those Serbs living in the north of Kosovo, and who still very much look to Belgrade and are still connected to Serbia by road, will not take part in these elections. They will heed Belgrade's call to boycott this vote. However, those Serbs living in the southern enclaves and therefore geographically cut off from Serbia will take part in the vote because they have no choice but to engage in the system here. Well, of course, ethnic divisions are not the only issues facing Kosovo. Unemployment here is rampant. Some put it at between 40 and 50%. And then, of course, there is the issue of endemic corruption here. So these are all issues included in the manifestos of the major parties here. And leading the charge and expected to take the most votes in today's election is Prime Minister Hashim Tachi's Democratic Party of Kosovo, the PDK, and then they're followed by their former partners, coalition partners, the Democratic League of Kosovo, the LDK, and then there's the Alliance for the Future of Kosovo, the AAK, traditionally seen as the third party here. But all of these parties talk about addressing these issues within the framework of what they perceive as the ultimate goal, which is EU and NATO membership. But recent polls have shown that Kosovans in particular, especially compared with others living throughout the Balkans, have suffered a drastic loss of faith in all public institutions here, from the judiciary to the parliament. And that's not been helped by the candidate list itself that was put forward for this election. A number of those candidates, while standing, are currently under investigation, suspected of a number of crimes ranging from corruption to abuse of office. And most worryingly of all, the leader of the AAK, Ramush Haradinaj, is currently in The Hague awaiting retrial for war crimes. What that has, though, meant is that this election has seen the emergence of some new parties here with the potential of making some real inroad. Most notably, Vetëvendosje, meaning self-determination, and FER, meaning new spirit. They're both expected to take some votes today. And these newer parties have shied away from mentioning NATO and EU membership as a serious goal. They've instead really decided to focus on the bread and butter issues affecting people's everyday lives here.
Well, Serbia's Minister for Kosovo told RT that reconciliation between areas, Albanians and Serbs, is unlikely to happen soon.
Almost all the Albanian lists contain people who, unfortunately, were under trial or participated in criminal actions or committed crimes in the late 90s against the Serbian community on the territory of Kosovo and Metohija. If we really want to move towards reconciliation of Serbs and Albanians, we cannot count on such people in the future. In conversations with all state officials, we emphasise that it's a black hole. There is crime in the spheres of money laundering and human, drugs and arms trafficking, and it's no secret. All the international organisations working there know about it. Our viewpoint is absolutely clear. We will never recognise Kosovo's independence, but we are ready to discuss the issues problematic for both ethnic communities, in this particular case, Serbs and Albanians. In the current situation, Albanians have received all they demanded, but on the other hand, Serbs have lost all they had. It's absolutely unacceptable.